We all have something to fear, whether it's a physical fear of heights or flying or something emotional like failure or not being good enough. But either way, fears can cripple our behaviors. Today, let's take a new look at fear and let it drive us to be better. The Take Action business coaches, Pete McDowell and Peg Burley, here to help as always. I like this, putting a positive spin on something that has such a negative connotation to it, right?
Sure.
All right, you have turned FEAR into an acronym, first and foremost. What does that stand for?
False expectations appearing real.
Okay, and that does explain it, right?
Right, absolutely.
So you categorize our fears. We're going to start with healthy and unhealthy. How do you know the difference?
So a simple healthy fear would be I'm on the edge of a cliff, I'm hiking, and I look over the edge, and I want to stay a little back from the edge because I'm going to die if I step the wrong way.
Right,
That's a very healthy fear. That's a good thing. Or a ladder, right? You should be extremely careful when you're on a ladder.
Now, what about an unhealthy fear?
Unhealthy, lots of examples there. I've got a great employee, however, they've got this annoying thing that they don't do at the right time, and I'm afraid to talk to them because I don't want to upset them because they're 85% good, right?
Okay.
And it's so hard to hire people, and if I lose this person because I talk to them, it's a problem.
It's a problem. Peg, you have examples of this. I mean, you work with people on these things every day.
Right, and so I liked your story of the conversation that you are fearful of. When we work with business owners, you know what we run into is a fear, and we have a client right now, Pete and I do, that is growing. In order to grow your business, you need to hire people, right? Mm-hmm. People get afraid of hiring people. So we are working with somebody right now, they're ready to hire, and we always say hire somebody, if you need a half a person, hire a full-time person.
Okay.
So we're at that point with this company, and he has put it off for months because we have to replace the office manager because she's not doing a great job, and his fear is, but what if I hire someone and they're not as good or they're bad? And that will possibly happen. It's just, it can't stop you from doing it. And then the second thing is, I'm bringing on an additional person. What if my business doesn't grow? What if my business is not going to support that family? And they're allowing all of this fear and negativity to get in for choices that he should be making.
And it holds you back.
It holds you back. And when you look at it too, I think in many ways, fear has that snowball effect, right?
Right.
Yes.
And so you guys see that too, right? It's not just the hiring, but it's everything else that would come after it that they're afraid of.
Exactly. And that's what keeps people from growing their businesses. That's why people bring us in, is to push you past that point. That's why you grow with us. And so he is going to hire. We have an ad out for both, and he's interviewing, and he's doing both of them.
Avoidance is really a recipe for disaster in your world.
It can be.
Is it not?
I won't look at my financials because I might see something in there that scares me.
We have that a lot.
I was going to
It's happening whether you look at them or not.
And how do you get over that? Especially when you're talking with somebody, right, who leads a business, who thinks that they kind of know everything, all the ins and outs of what they're dealing with. How do you kind of help them get past that?
Well, one of the things that we do, and we do this personally too, is let's flip it around and say, well, you do want to grow your business, right? You want it to continue to profitably grow for the next 10 years or so. Right. And think about some of the things that you absolutely love doing. If you want to do more of those, well, we've got to make it grow.
Okay.
So fear losing something that you really love. And that can drive you too. So it's a positive way to look at fear.
So using fear to drive you.
And then, that's what you say, because I mean, a higher performance. I mean, to get to that point, which is what you guys do with most businesses you work with, right?
Correct.
They all are growing rapidly, all of them.
So do you sit with them and make them list their fears? How do you start knowing before you start tackling them?
Sure, that's the best thing. And this is a great example because it's very common. The hiring fear is a very common one. The financial numbers fear is a common one too. Well, we don't want to dig too deeply into that. Well, it's always good to know, right? If you're in a plane, you're flying a plane, all the instruments have information you might need. It's just like your business. You've got to look. It doesn't mean you're going to act every time a needle changes a little bit. You're just going to understand and which ones are important and which ones we're working on.
And so we do make them face their fears, to answer your question, absolutely. And say, and we always say, what is the worst thing that would happen? Let's go through that. And then let's talk about what we'll deal with if that were to happen.
Okay.
And so we have a plan so that we approach it logically and then push through that fear. It's called perturbation. It's a point of disturbance when you're about to do something that's uncomfortable. It's a growth opportunity. And as we're coaching, that's what we do, is we make people uncomfortable so that they grow.
And sometimes just writing down those potential consequences and looking at them logically helps calm people down. They go, well, the chances of that happening are pretty low.
Right.
Especially if I do these things to prevent that problem. it won't be a problem.
And I think having a sounding board, like you and Pete, I
Right.
mean, having somebody to be able to sit there and put that kind of to rest, that this is not going to be the downfall of your business, trust me,
Right.
you know, we'll do that.
And I have one more quick tip.
Go for it.
In order, if you do have a fear, one way to overcome that is to look for proof for somebody else. So we have lots of case studies and examples. Look at this person, it worked out okay. So that's another thing you can do in order to get over your fear.
Perfect.
That's
So
one of the
much
reasons we
advice.
use our
Yeah.
community to allow business owners who are perturbating or disturbing about hiring that next employee to talk with other people who've the only way their business has grown is by adding employees.
Yeah, look at this success story. You
has
can
to
be the
happen.
next one.
There you go.
Perfect. All right, Peg and Pete, phone numbers up on screen and website. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin.